breeze through. I got a lot of material, so I'm going to breeze through some stuff. The good news is most of it's online, and I have links to almost all of it. All right, so we'll do the easy stuff first. We got ROS-Con going on. ROS-Con is going to be in Singapore this year. It'll be in North America next year, so keep that in mind. The important thing to remember is we'd like you to attend. We'd even like you to speak about what you're building. We would actually really like to see more ROS-I representation at ROS-Con. The CFP for talks closes on June 2nd, so that's what, a little over 2 weeks from now. It's fairly easy. You should be able to fill out a CFP proposal in about 2 hours. All right, so let's start with a few things. I've been calling 2025 the year of community contributions. So this is my my sort of spreadsheet where I'm gathering all of the issues, all of the tickets, all of the needs, and trying to drive the community to help patch things and improve things. We're really, really pushing in the next year or so to get more community contributors, get more code produced, get new blood into the project, and sort of grow what we're doing internally. So I've started adding to our annual metrics report, which is usually up on Discourse. I've started adding metrics just on community contributions. Right now, the ROS-2 sub-org within GitHub has about 258 regular contributors. That's only up 3%. Those are rookie numbers. We need to get more contributors. We need to grow the number of people contributing to ROS-2, and we need to accelerate the pace of improvement in the project. The other good news, the interesting thing is we're actually not producing a lot more code. We're actually reducing code, which being a software engineer, that usually is a good thing. Less code is better. Less code is less maintenance. Less code is usually better code. So I'm excited about that. It's usually an indicator that things are improving. If you'd like to get involved, all of the developers, all of the core developers are generally meeting at 9 a.m. Pacific every Tuesday for the ROS-2 PMC meeting. You're always welcome to attend that meeting. If you have something you'd like to bring up, such as an issue, you have to send us a quick ping before you do it so we can get you on the agenda. Generally, right now, Michael's handling a lot of that, or Jeff. Both of those are good people to ping to bring up an issue. If you want to know where that meeting is, we have new contributors that do graphics work. If you go to docs.ros.org right now, you will see that it is actually a decent looking web page. And if you scroll halfway down, there is a link to our community Google Calendar that you can just add to your personal calendar so you know when all of these meetings are happening. See, it says right there, community calendar. And you can actually send us community events if you'd like us to include them in our list. So let's talk a little bit about where we are with the ROS-1, ROS-2 transition. So these are numbers from March of this year. So the reddish things are ROS-1 package downloads. The bluish things are ROS-2 package downloads. We're in the domain of an 80-20 split right now. There's still 20% of the community that is holding on to ROS-1 for dear life. The vast majority of those people are noetic. There's still some melodic users. We're hoping that this will fall off here fairly quickly. If you are one of the 1 in 5 people or 1 in 5 developers that are still using ROS-1, don't fret. We'll tell you that you do need to consider moving at some point in the near future. However, nothing's going to disappear on you, but the binaries will not improve. Nothing will get improved. Nothing will get, no patches will be released. No new binaries will be produced. If a critical bug comes up, it's not going to get rolled out as a binary. You'll have to recompile everything from scratch. It'll make your life more difficult. As it stands, if you are a package maintainer for ROS-1, I think there's 2 more noetic syncs left. I haven't checked today. It's either 2 or 1, and the second to last one is either today or tomorrow, and is probably already in bag. I've consolidated basically everything you need to know about transitioning from ROS-1 to ROS-2 into one giant web page that is at the URL below. This is like all of our official guidance. This is all of people's experience. This is all the tools people have built to help you transition. So if you've not started and you need to go and convince people to make the move, you start at this URL. It'll give you everything that I can possibly give you to move to ROS-1 or ROS-2. So let's talk about Kilted Kaiju. This is our next ROS release. It comes out on the 23rd. It is a short-term ROS release with support until November 2026. If you're not familiar, kaiju is basically a Japanese word for monster, like Godzilla or Mothra or something like that. So the way ROS releases work, hopefully you guys already know this, is that we make a new release every year. On even years, we make a big long-term release that usually has a 4, 5, 6-year support cycle. In odd years, we make a short-term release, which has more like an 18-month support cycle. These short-term releases are really for people that are developers, particularly package developers, to try the latest things, get ready, and get set for the next LTS. In terms of timeline, this is a rough timeline for Kilted. And if you look, we're right in the middle. Today's the 15th. We just wrapped up beta testing for Kilted. We're going to spend the next week and a half packaging it, and then it'll be released on the 23rd. And you'll get to play with it officially for until November of next year. So this is my annual reminder of how the ROS release cycle works. At the top, you see all the distros that are end of life and you should not be using. At the bottom, you see all the new distros. I've helpfully color-coded green and red the long-term support and short-term support windows. So you can see Kilted's short-term support. And then we have upcoming the ROS-L turtle release for next year, which is going to be an LTS release, the replacement for Jazzy. This is basically our recommendation right now. If you are building an application for customers, the green is your best bet. The yellow is kind of, you could do it. The red are a no-go. But I also want to remind people that the right ROS version for you may not be the latest version. It may be one back. So let's talk about Kaiju just a little bit here. So it's a non-LTS. As I said earlier, it really is for developers, package developers, people doing experimental work, maybe researchers. In terms of platform support, our tier 1 platforms for this release are going to be Ubuntu Noble, Windows 10, RHEL 9, and RHEL 9 has tier 2 support. There's also some support for, say, ARM64 builds, Debian Bookworm, and Mac OS, and Yocto. So what's new, what's interesting in this release, the real questions. So the big ticket items, and I'll cover these in more details. The big ticket item, the biggest thing that we did is that we have first-class Xeno support. So there's just a completely new type of ROS middleware. We hope it addresses some of the concerns that people had with DDS. And not only is there this new RMW, it is a tier 1 RMW. It is not the default tier 1 RMW, but it is a tier 1 RMW. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a second. There's also a lot of improvements around ROS actions. And also a little bit around ROS bag. And then finally, we've done a lot of work on RCL Pi, particularly in terms of performance. And that's really exciting because that's been a pain point for a while. So RMW is a tier 1, RMW Xeno is now a tier 1 RMW. What does that mean? So when we say tier 1, what we mean is it passes all of our core tests for an RMW. That is to say, we have a full test suite for it, and it's been tested against every package on our build farm, and it works. It also has top shelf quality. So we have a standard for software quality called REP 2004, and it complies with REP 2004 for our software quality. It has fully featured security, so full SROS2 security implementations are available. There's some great tooling there to help you get started. It is also a ROS core package, so you can get it installed on just about every core operating system. There's also tier 1 operating system support, so if you want to run this on Windows 10, it'll work on Windows 10. If you want to run this on Ubuntu Noble, it'll run. And I think the most important thing here is that it's going to stay like that. All of this testing, all of this quality assurance, it's part of the build farm, it's part of our nightly CI jobs. So it's going to stay like this. It's not going to get broken at some point. It's ready to go. So if you want to get started, it's actually fairly trivial to change over. You can give it a shot on your system with about 4 lines of command line shell code. Basically, all you do is install it, kill your existing ROS daemon, run the new RMW, and export a couple flags. So if you want to get started, this is the point where you take out your phone and take a photo. This is the full laundry list of all the RMW Xeno resources that we have out right now. There's the quality declaration, our design documents for it, how to install it, how to use the security features, and what we mean when we say tier 1 support. So let's move on to some of the other features that we have available. And I mentioned this because if you don't believe me that this is ready to go, we've added some isolated RMW testing features in ROS. So if you actually wanted to run your own testing against Xeno to see how it performs, you can do that now. You can actually do your own suite of basically RMW testing that you can test against using our test fixtures. And if you're interested in learning about those, you can take a look at the PR. It's mentioned that basically at the bottom of this page, it says basically the repository within the ROS2 organization and the PR number. And in these slides, when you're distributed, you can just click on that link. Next up, let's talk about RCL Pi. One big change coming up in Kilted is we've added type support. It's now kind of liberally spread all across RCL Pi. The RCL Pi Action Server and Action Client now has Python type support, and it also has support for Python generics in there. This stuff really doesn't matter unless you regularly use it and test against it. So if you want to use Python static types, since RCL Pi starts using static types now, there is actually an event wrapper for MyPy, so you can use that type checking in your build. All you have to do is run MyPy and the path to the ROS package that you want to test against, and it should print out whether you actually have all your static types in a row. This is probably the biggest new feature in terms of Python and Kilted. We've actually done some contributors have actually done a bunch of work to port over the RCL CPP events executor to address some performance concerns that people have had with the Python executor. So the profiling I've seen is fairly rudimentary profiling, but the claim right now is that this is about 10 times faster in terms of overall Python execution. So if you've had a bit of a bottleneck with Python and ROS2, it might be time to look again and see if things are up to snuff. You do have to do one little tiny code change I have highlighted there at the very bottom, which is basically saying, I want to use this new executor that should be faster. What else is going on? We have a new thing that people have been asking for a long time is action introspection. So now using the ROS2 CLI, you can actually say, hey, I have an action. Tell me what the action is, where you are in sort of the process within inside the action. Have you gotten the request? Are you processing? Have you been canceled? You can actually see all of this just by running a CLI command. So this is a very handy, helpful feature when you're debugging. What's also really cool is this extends to your ROS bag. So you can actually get all of this data inside of your ROS bag. So if something goes wrong and you want to see where in your action, basically the state machine of your action, something went wrong with the data, you can now see all of that. Very handy debugging tool. We've also added quite a few new features to ROS bag. There's now, when you're looking at your ROS bag, you can sort chronologically through the messages. So you can either replay messages chronologically. So you can either say replay them when they were received or replay them when they were sent. So if you have some weird out of order issues with your bag, you can actually correct for that. There's also now basically a ROS bag action server that you can use to run system snapshots using ROS bag. So you say, hit this action server, it'll you can basically dump all of the system state into a ROS bag and kind of treat it like a black box for your system. Let's see, what other things do we have? So there is now a flag on the ROS bag CLI where you can sort your topics and services by their name, their topic type, the number of messages they have. I know this is a 6-letter change to the CLI, but this is a super, super handy feature. You can also interrogate what topic inside of your ROS bag is contributing the most to the amount of data in that bag. So if you have something that's just overwhelming your ROS bag and taking up 80% of it, you can find that fairly easily. And now you can also set the log level to record when you record and play back your ROS bag using the ROS the --log level CLI command. We've also improved the ROS bag progress bar. It should play. We'll see if this plays. May not play. But if you go take a look at this, we've changed around how the ROS bag CLI outputs data. So you actually get a running output of how things are progressing, what's going on, whether you've paused the replay. You can actually do all of those commands and see what's going on as you're using the ROS bag play feature. Similarly, we've added the capability to replay multiple ROS bags simultaneously. So if you have, say, one bag where you keep all of your image data, and another bag where you keep all your LiDAR data, and another bag where you keep all your IMU data, or you want to mix and match different things, you can replay them all at the same time. And then one last one here. This is relevant to the Windows users out there. We're prepping to move the ROS Ultra release to Windows 11 as a Tier 1 operating system. In anticipation of that, what we're doing is we're changing around how ROS is installed on Windows. We're moving to using both Pixie, which is from a new organization called prefix.dev, and Conda. Our hope here, we believe this has a number of advantages. It's going to make dependency management a lot easier for us. It's going to simplify the installation process. You're going to have the capability to do workspace level installation versus doing a global ROS install on your Windows machine. And then for us, we hope it's a lower maintenance burden overall. And this is a small one, but if you are doing a lot of image processing, we've actually added a new image format to ImageProc. It's the NV12 format. If that doesn't ring a bell, don't worry about it. What's interesting about NV12 is this is basically one of the pixel encoding standards that's very commonly supported in hardware. So if you're moving a bunch of image data around, there's a chance that moving over to using this format for storing all of your imagery data will get you some speed up, hardware speed ups. No promises there, but it might. It depends on what you're doing. So if you want to give it a try, everything you need to know about Kilted is now up on docs.ros.org. It is not going to be on the front page of the docs repository until the 23rd, maybe the 22nd. But if you just go docs.ros.org/Kilted, it's all up there right now. And if you're afraid of commitment, you don't want to install it, there's a bunch of other ways to try Kilted without doing a full system install. We should have official Docker images out for ROS2 Kilted on the 23rd. You're also able to do simulation if you want. We'll have Docker simulations available for Kilted as well. And then we also are, one of my colleagues, Shane, works with the OCI, the Open Container Initiative, to make OCI Docker images for all of our active ROS releases. And then we've also got a swag sale going on. So if you'd like a very cool, very awesome ROS Kilted t-shirt or sweatshirt or baby onesie or water bottle or flip-flops, there's a ton of stuff. Anyway, we have a swag sale. All of the proceeds from the swag sale go to support the OSRF. And then the last one I just want to mention is I'm writing, if you're interested in staying up to date on everything that's going on in the ROS development community, I sort of write news every Friday summarizing all of the events, all of the recent package releases, all of the interesting papers that have come out. That's on ROS Discourse, usually through Friday around noonish Pacific time. And that is about it. Thank you, everyone. Any questions?
Thanks, Ken. Any questions for Ken? Well, I must have nailed it, Ken, right? So the crowd is quiet.
No questions.
Great slide. Oh, yes.
Albert, Dr. Munoz.
Hi, thank you. Very nice, very nice. As always, very nice talk. I'm just wondering, during the last 2-3 years, we have been listening a lot about foundational models and so on that normally they rely on data. And as you perfectly know, we have a lot of videos of people carrying on actions on YouTube, and we have videos of robots carrying on tasks, but we don't have the ROS back of all those executions. So are you prospecting new changes on the way for saving the full set of data that eventually can be used to train models and to support those interested on foundational models? If there is any position about that? Thank you.
So it's sort of a long question here, but where are we going with sort of ROS data and foundational models? So what I can tell you is right now, ROS-Bag is a big work surface, right? And part of it is, I think, enabling these capabilities. There's two things going on, but there's nothing definitive just yet. So there's internal discussions about things like the robot and those sort of projects where how do we support these better? How do we make sort of ROS-Bag and ROS part of that whole project and grow the ecosystem around that? So that's part of it. And then the second side of it is there's a couple community groups that are very interested, this more on the foundation model side and the interface side. If that is something you're interested in, quite frankly, do it. There are groups of people, you should show up and sort of speak your mind on that. I don't think this is something that's going to be delivered out of the foundation unless we get the community being a part of it.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Dr. Munoz. There's probably some follow-up conversations to have for sure. Well, thank you, Kat.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
So